Welcome and thank you for coming back to the Nolan series. Today we are reviewing The Prestige, of course directed by Christopher Nolan and starring Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale, a film that is very anti-Christopher Nolan in a way. And of course, why? We'll talk about it. The film is set in 19th century London where two stage magicians, former partners, engage in a battle to create the ultimate illusion, while sacrificing anything to try and outwit the other. The Prestige is a very special movie to me. At times, I kind of feel like it's on the lower tier of Christopher Nolan movies, even though you guys know I love all his movies, and Christopher Nolan is my favorite director. The Prestige, however, is a film that every time I go back, it's better than what I remember. And I watched it this morning for this review, and it stays true to that. This film is really special. Now, I mentioned that it feels very anti-Christopher Nolan. What I mean by that is that Christopher Nolan is a guy that always defends going to see a movie in the big theater, and his stories and how intricately he constructs them make you feel absolutely immersed in them, be it Interstellar, Inception, the Dark Knight movies, even Dunkirk most recently. But The Prestige is a film that explains magic acts or steps as acts in a movie. The first step or act is the pledge, and in the case of the film itself, it introduces characters and conflicts. The second act, or step, is the turn, and in the case of the film, it literally turns into a scene that Angier, played by Hugh Jackman, is in fact the villain. And much like Michael Caine's narration explains at the beginning of the film, in the turn, you don't really want to know. You're fascinated, you're curious, but you're of course not looking. You don't really want to know because the film has not come to an end. So there's a subconscious part of us that doesn't want to find out what is really going on just yet. So when we get to The Prestige, and that is the third act of the film itself, we found out what was really going on with one of our main characters, and of course I'll get to it. Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman both give two of their best performances. In fact, this might just be my favorite Hugh Jackman performance, specifically. That or Prisoners. They completely disappear as like a magic act into these characters. Like, I love both these actors, but seeing them in these roles, it doesn't feel like I'm watching Batman, or Wolverine, or Christian Bale in Ford v Ferrari, or Hugh Jackman in Prisoners. It doesn't feel like they're the same people that were in all those movies, because that deconstruction of the film by Nolan himself makes you feel even more immersed. It's like by showing how it works, he enhances the experience even more. He immerses you even deeper into the film. Something that works really well with these two characters and the conflict they have with each other is the fact that they're constantly trying to one-up each other. They're constantly trying to be better. So they are very active characters that don't stop at all. These characters are always constantly active, trying to do something to impress themselves, the world, and their opponent. And the film does a great job at making you feel for both of them. You feel for the loss of Robert Angiers, then you're happy because Alfred Borden has got himself a wife and he's moving on from that rivalry. But they aren't really, are they? Because like many Christopher Nolan movies, the film is not linear. It's told through fragments of time put together as a maze. But there are always clues as to what time period you're in. The lighting, the color, the contrast in the colors specifically, a little bit of the hair here and there on certain characters. You can tell when you're moving back or forth in time and you're closer to the conclusion, which we also get a look at the very beginning. The very film starts with all the hats near Tesla's house, and the title of the film, The Prestige. So right away, the film kind of tells us what is going to happen, but again, we don't really want to see it. Now we are going to get into full spoilers from now on. We are going to talk about the ending, the implications of that ending, and how it all connects. So even though I've talked freely about the film up until now, get out if you haven't watched The Prestige. Please do yourself a favor. Now at the end we find out that Angiers with Tesla's machine has been copying himself, and every time he does a performance, the original one goes down into the tank of water, waiting for Borden to fall into his trap. We also found out that Borden's engineer Fallon was Borden's twin brother. They had been switching back and forth. Borden's brother loved Olivia, and Borden himself originally loved Sarah. They were two brothers who lived as one single person. They were both Borden, they were both Fallon. Now, why does this work for me? Not only does the beginning of the film, the very first shot with the title on top of it, show us what is really going on, but also, as you go back and rewatch the film, the clues are really all there. There are slight differences in the two characters played by Christian Bale. And once you go back and rewatch this film, you can tell by the little tweaks that he gave his two performances. Now, Christian Bale in this film gives 3, maybe even 4 different performances. If you go and look at the way he plays Fallon as either Alfred or his brother, because when the two brothers are out of disguise as they're talking to Sarah or to Olivia, especially in the argument that Alfred has with his wife Sarah when she's telling, "This is not one of those days you love me." That's the brother, and it makes total sense. It feels rewarding going back and watching this film. Another element that I love that helps everything add up and that kind of makes the film a magic trick of its own is that at the very beginning, Michael Caine himself, who's Angier's engineer, he's explaining how a magic trick works. He's explaining the 3 steps. He's telling us everything. The character himself, who arranges for the tricks to work, what's his name? His name is Cutter. What do you do with the editing of the film? You cut footage, and you place it where it needs to be for the film, the trick, to work, to be cohesive, for you to believe that a film is actually happening in front of your eyes. That to me is the layered cherry on top of the layered cake that is The Prestige. From the performances to the writing, the structure, the editing is immaculate. Not to mention the cinematography by Wally Pfister, the score by David Julian, which is very underrated. I see nobody talking about the score for The Prestige, and it hurts my heart. Much like what Tesla created, The Prestige is an intricate and elaborate machine designed for the simple purpose of diversion. It's an illusion itself. You don't want to see the things there are in there even though they're right in front of your eyes. And once again, it's Nolan proving and showing us that he trusts the audience. And it holds up once again. I'm giving The Prestige an A+. Now, my beautiful geekies, what did you think of The Prestige? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what is your favorite Christopher Nolan movie. And the series will continue because tomorrow I'm returning to theaters to watch Inception in IMAX for the first time. First time in theaters. I have seen Inception, and if you follow me for a while, you know very much how I feel about it, but I can't wait to review it, so I hope to see you there, as well as many other Christopher Nolan movies and not Christopher Nolan movies to come. I hope to see you there, so until the next video, stay beautiful, stay geeky, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video because it really helps me and the channel out, but most importantly, above everything else, forever and always, love each other and love the movies.